Yes, I finally got a haircut. So this is going to be an informative video where I get to talk about my truck modifications. There's two parts to this. There's the exterior modifications and there's the interior. I'm going to talk about both, but the main topic for this video is going to be the interior modification, more specifically my truck camping build. So let's get right on to it. First we got to get ourselves out of these ruts. All the snow is melting and the trails become very waterlogged, and you could get stuck if you're not careful. First things first, this is a 2021 Toyota Tundra SR, regular cab, two-wheel drive. As you can see, the cab is rather small in the back, not super tight, but you can get an extended cab. I believe that's called Crew Max, but I decided I don't need something like that. Plus the bed's gonna be shorter and I wanted a 6.5 foot bed, which that is. On the back I am rocking A.R.E. MX series topper with the slide windows, and it's pretty basic. There's no lighting system hooked up to it because I honestly didn't think that I would ever need it, and thus far I really haven't needed it. Now, as I have mentioned, this is a two-wheel drive truck, which means it has its drawbacks. That leads me to the first modification that I will talk about in this video, and I have brought this up multiple times in my previous videos. You could go check them out in my channel, but these tires. Now, for the majority of the time that I owned the truck, I was running the Michelin LTX MS2, which is an all-season tire. Does not have a 3-peak mountain snowflake rating, so it is an all-season tire. It did okay in the snow. You know, I just threw some sandbags in the back of the truck and I was able to make it happen, but those sandbags over time started getting really heavy, and didn't want to deal with them as much. So once the Michelin tires wore out, I switched over to General Grabber ATXs. Now, I was considering a few options back then. I was considering the Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws, which a lot of people were sworn by for their snow performance and their wet performance. BF Goodrich KO2s, which, you know, just looks fantastic, and it seems like a lot of people are just going for it. They said you can't go wrong with it, but they are hella expensive at this point. And then there were these some things I really love about these tires. They have way more siping than a lot of the AT tires out there in the market. Even though on the side the sipings don't seem to go all the way down, they go all the way down towards the middle. And so as the tire wears, you're going to see some of the siping kind of shrink in length. And I'm pretty sure there's the reasons to that kind of design. But so far, almost 10,000 miles in now with these tires. I've been driving a lot. 10,000 miles in, these treads are still practically brand new. They started at 14.5 32seconds of an inch, and right now they're still close to 13 and a half or more. Still, by the looks of it, this tire is probably going to last a long time. An important thing to note with these tires, or any sort of all-terrain tires that you will get that has these interlocking treads, which you would say these treads, yeah. While they do provide excellent grip and traction in snow and rainy and in wet conditions, they don't seem to have a defining, what do you call those, longitudinal grooves that you might see in some of the street tires, especially the Michelin all-season tires. And what they help to do is not only expel water, but in less than ideal conditions, when the vehicle does lose traction, when the tires do lose traction, it reduces the tendency for the vehicle to get sideways, or fishtail in this case, because it's a two-wheel drive. But these, however, while they do give better traction, and even when they lose traction, it still grabs onto a lot of snow, so it propels you forward. it has a tendency to fishtail a little more. And I tested this while drifting on a parking lot on a snowy day, and these tires will fishtail more than some of those all-season tires with really deep longitudinal grooves that run the entire length of the circumference of the tire. But all in all, been very satisfied with these tires. They're not heavy, they're not too heavy, they're close to stock tire specs. Great traction, love the tread designs, love the amount of siping that's available, and well, that's that. Here's some of the here's a size reference: 255/70 R18s. Those are the stock sizes. That's the stock tire size that comes with the vehicle when you get it. My Michelin tire was that size. I stuck to that size. I don't plan on increasing the tire sizes anytime soon, if ever. And that's that. You can see the 3-peak mountain snowflake designation, mud and snow, and it is a radial tubeless tire. It is made in America, which is why I got it over the Falcons, because I've heard that the Falcons recently changed their manufacturing plant to China, and they've been running into some quality control issues since then. Now, I believe that's really not a big deal, because they tend to address those quickly. But if I'm getting anything in America, I want something made in America. Just look at those tire tread marks on the snow. That's what I like to see. These are good tires, and I would highly recommend them. I'm not sponsored by them. You can tell because I have no followers in this channel yet, but I've been very satisfied with these tire performances and just the way they look too. Now, the second mod that I want to talk about is the pod lights that I've installed right here. It is fastened onto the hood, the joint of the hood, and it sits flush right here. Even when I open the hood of the truck, it does not touch any part of the windshield. It doesn't touch anything. So it's a very smooth install. These lights are bright. My girlfriend found them on I believe they have a YouTube channel, and they have been fantastic. They've already helped me avoid a lot of deer. I currently have the yellow. They give you a replaceable lens. I can change these out for a clear. This is just yellow lens. I like yellow because it tires out my eyes less. If you get white, you tend to get tired visually more, and the white produces a lot more glare on objects that are particularly more reflective at night. And I would highly recommend yellow for anybody who's looking to get one of these for themselves. Excellent mod. And for the exterior of the truck, I think that's about it, other than, oh, I guess I could talk about the topper. So this is the A.R.E. MX series topper. It is the basic version, no interior lighting, but it does have sliding side windows. I added additional tinting to increase privacy even at night. It does help, but I still refrain from lighting the inside of the truck, especially when I'm stealth camping, urban stealth camping. However, in a campsite, that's not a problem that I really run into. Now, a thing that I want to talk about with this rascal. I don't know if this is just a tundra thing, but I've had the hardest time preventing water from going into the back of the truck. The topper itself is not leaking. The topper itself is fine, but the A.R.E. topper, and I don't know if it's for all A.R.E. products, but unlike the other Lear toppers out there, or some of the toppers that I've seen on the road, they do not remove the bed rail caps along the top rim of the truck bed rails. They don't. The whole topper just sits on top. And what I noticed a bit late, I didn't know this was a thing until I was wrestling with this problem, was that these bed rails are 2 layers of plastic that are sandwiched together. And what happens is, as it rains and all the rubber seals and the water channels guide the water down, the draining water touches the the plastic rails, and then it seeps into the seams that are there as part of the build, as part of what the bed rails, the design of the bed rails. I don't know if I can show you here. These, yeah, these come with the truck. It's part of the truck. This whole topper you can see is just sitting on top of the bed rail. These caps are 2 layers, and they extend out towards here where the water drains, and they go in and they travel all along the length of the bed rail, and it drips down to the side. The topper itself skirts over, so none of the water that hits it from the outside makes it in. It's the water that enters through the bed rail caps. I don't even know what to call them, but they enter through here, they travel all along the side, and they become just a big wet mess. So what I had to do was to basically find a good silicone caulk, just run it, cover the glue the edges of the bed rail caps, basically, glue them together, and then just seal off those from the inside. What that would do is get the water to drain outside, right? Outside of the bed rail caps, out the sides of the topper. All the water goes outside. It doesn't make it inside. So this is my current setup of my truck camping system. I'm gonna zoom out here. This is what you get. So now's the time I'm going to talk about some of the updates that I've made with my current sleeping system. It used to be just like a singular platform. The dimensions for that platform came close to that of a full-size bed or a mattress size. Right now I have the Mr. Buddy, little buddy heater that I carry with me at times to help heat the back of the truck. But that heater, as compact as it is, does take up quite a bit of room when you're talking a very tight living quarters. So while it was great for one person, if 2 people decided to share the space, there would have been zero space for any additional appliances to help heat the interior. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. See this platform here? There's actually a second piece that used to run alongside this area, but now it is gone. And instead, I extended the wood out here. So that way, I can sleep 2 people comfortably. And then I have a power station, a place to put the power station to share the power source. And I have all this room. Maybe the heater can go down here. If I have an electric heater that can blow air this way, or a propane heater over here where it would be safer. And I can, open this window or that window to increase airflow. But with the previous build, this would have been solid wood, and these 2 mattresses would have been stuck together, and there would have been big gaps over there and over here, which meant that there would be no space for both the power station and a heating unit to help make the interior temperatures a bit more bearable. Now, even though I have a 0-degree sleeping bag, and therefore it's not so much of a problem for me, for the interest of safety and in case of emergencies, you do need a heat source. I need to be able to place the heat source where it's not going to present a fire hazard, obviously. Never ever put a heat source on top of a mattress. It has to be a hard surface, away from areas where things can catch on fire. I do have a carbon monoxide detector or alarm. I don't know which is the more technically correct term for it. That is one of the main reasons why I decided to make this modification, separate the two mattresses, two sleeping systems. That way, you can comfortably house two people, two adult individuals, and have room for me to sit up. You know, how nice is it to be able to put my feet down, sit up. You know, this is a mid-rise topper, so I can sit up comfortably. My head is touching. And, you know, it makes it that much more comfortable to spend an extended period of time back here. Whereas in my old system, I have to stay crawling all the time. It's not good for my back. It is not good for just the overall being. You got to be able to stand up, stretch out, sit up. But with this system, I no longer have to worry about constantly going out there to stretch my legs. I can just sit here like so and chill. And yeah. Now, inside here are two drawer systems. One here, one there. They go out that way. And for them to go out, I need to open the tailgate. So if there's any essentials that I need, I make sure to take them out beforehand and then place them inside the living quarters where I can make use of them, and then put them back after I'm done. But at the moment, that has not become an issue. I've been pretty good about getting the things that I need and settling in before I have to grab additional things. So that is in my distant bucket list. So not like an immediate project, but something that I might consider later when I do decide that I want to access some of the contents in here while I am settled in for the night. And the reality with this setup is any personal items that I need anyway, I would be carrying around in a duffel bag or a personal backpack, in which case I would be carrying it in the cab there. And when I get out of the truck, I would retrieve the bag, bring it in here, and everything that I need will be available in the back of the truck. So there really hasn't been a need for me to be able to access the drawer system, let's say in the middle of the night when I suddenly need something out of here. Everything that's in the drawer is for emergency use only. And that is with the exception of my kitchen utensils or my cookware. I will not be cooking inside the camper shell. And there's pretty obvious reasons for that. It's too tight of a space to have like an open flame cooking with a lot of grease. Grease gets everywhere. Food smell stains these carpets. I don't want this interior to smell like food at all. I can bring some snacks, non-perishable snacks, beef jerkies, that's fine, chips, cookies, that's fine, but not to cook with a frying pan inside. In which case I'd be cooking outside, and if I'm going to be outside, I will have full access to the drawer system anyway. So that has never been an issue for me. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about with my sleeping system is the mattress that I sleep on. Now, in the video where I went to New York City and back when I still had the old, the build, I had an old mattress that I've had since childhood. And all the springs were broken. The thing was really heavy, thick. It hugged your body. And as long as it was cool out, it was fine because it hugs your body. It traps a lot of the body heat and you don't get cold. But the problem was, at the time when I was traveling, it was the height of August heat wave. And every night, the low temperature every night would be in the 90s, which was just absolutely terrible. And that gave me a reason to toss the mattress and find a mattress that is very breathable and also that provides a great back support, something like a memory foam, which these mattresses are. I can show you. When you first push into it, it's a little bit soft, but as you put more weight into it, there's a denser layer underneath where it prevents you from touching the actual hard surface of the wood. And people use this in tents also, and these were not cheap. If you really want good comfort, especially me with my lower back issues, and as much as I enjoy camping in tents and stuff, it got to a point where sleeping on the ground was just not a good thing for my body. So I decided to go ahead and shell out extra dollar to afford these two mattresses, one for myself, another one for anyone who likes to join me for the excursions. And it has worked out pretty well so far. I love it. I got an excellent deal on it. None of these were brand new. They were used. And I think for these kind of products, it's okay to get used because they don't really get abused, tossed and turned or abused very much, especially something of this caliber. It's not like one of those foam sleeping pads where you toss it around, you pack it in a backpacking trip. These are way too bulky to be used for backpacking. That's exactly why I got it, because I'm not backpacking, but I have the means to put them in a space for a long-term use. And these are very durable. They breathe really well. Like as I push in, air comes out. And they stay relatively cool. But even if it gets below freezing inside, it doesn't get too cold either. It keeps a relatively stable temperature. It never gets too cold to the touch. And just laying down in it has been one of the greatest experiences in here so far. Oh, I didn't see you there. Was I filming? And the point I'm trying to make is that's just how comfortable these mattresses are. I guess the last bit of modification / gadgets that I want to talk about in the video is this power station. This is Bluetti AC180. Has about, I don't remember, was it like 1100? Yeah, it says it right there, 1152 watt-hour capacity. Of that, roughly 800 and something watt-hour of usable power, which is still quite a bit. 1800 watt capacity in terms of like the surge. It can handle that much surge. Nothing that I use while traveling requires that amount of power. I'm not planning on running any sort of heater or big fans. It'll be a portable fan, mostly to charge my devices and work on the computer if I need to. And those AC ports come really handy for that. I could charge it while traveling, like bring it to the front of the car seat and then plug it in from the car jack, and it charges relatively quickly. It's a very slow charge from the cigarette port, very low voltage, but if, especially in long trips, or if you remember to plug it in every time you drive, it will charge quicker than you would think. Right now, if I turn it on, I have about 62%. I've been using it for about 3 days without recharging it. I've been charging my phone, powering a fan all night, and occasionally running my computer out of it. And it went down from 99% to 62 in 3 days. This great unit, got it at a great price. I think the industry average is like around $1 per watt hour. You want to pay less than that. But it allows me to also plug in, hold on, turn on DC, plug this in, and boom. Now I got a lighting system for the truck. It doesn't light up the entire truck at night. It's more for aesthetic appeal, but I like it. This is a really good look, especially at night. So that is pretty much it in terms of the modifications that I have already done. One crucial item that I am looking to, or just considering for future projects to come, is finding a way to stay connected on the road. There are a lot of options out there. Some people say that they're kind of dwindling in options, I still haven't done enough researches to really point out what they are, but I know a lot of them have to do with the concept of hotspots. So basically, converting a cellular data into a Wi-Fi network. Your phone can do that. The problem with that would be then those hotspots are only as good as the cell signal you receive, and they usually have data caps. And a lot of the times when I need the internet, I use a lot of data. I use a ton of data. So they say 30 gigs is a lot, which it is, but sometimes I need a lot of data. So I've considered another alternative, which a lot of people say are reliable, is Starlink. Starlink seems to be, like, if you're able to afford their services and their equipment, seems to be something that is very doable. At the moment, though, it is out of my budget, and it's also like more for people who are permanently making a living on the road. That is not the case for me, which leads me to the conclusion of this video, which is basically to say this. This, like I said, is an informative video sharing my current setup, some things that were and some things that are now, presently taking place. And I've shared briefly some of the things that I'm looking to do for the near future, but those things are hit or miss things where I'm not really committed, which is an important point I want to make. This is not a live out of my truck setup. I do have emergency essentials. I have non-perishable food stored in here. I have cooking utensils. Cooking means I have propane canisters safely tucked away, which, by the way, I don't necessarily keep all the time in the truck. They get replaced, they get taken out. Things are very temporary, and that's the word I want to emphasize for this video. Everything here is temporary. Everything is designed to be taken apart and removed, because this is still a full-time work truck for myself and the house. Oh, and a quick side note, because this topper is black and it is sunny outside, even though it is 40 degrees outside, 39 degrees outside, this thing gets piping hot. And so I am getting hot. I took off my jacket, but this sweater is very warm. And that marks the end of the video. You can take a very simple design and make it do a lot of things. It can take you to a lot of places, help you see a lot of things you would have otherwise missed if you fly everywhere. It encourages you to be on the road and just spend time isolated or in a populated space without having to spend an ungodly amount of money in some of the hotels now, which are getting pretty expensive. If you have the time out there, I would encourage, if you have a van or if you have a truck, make a build, get out there, explore. I hope you got something out of the video. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Thank you for finding this channel. Consider subscribing. I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I just make videos if I have time, because, why not? I have the time. I have the camera. I can make videos. So appreciate it if you can give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and look forward to more adventures to come.